Hello. Welcome to the Fully Booked Content Formula. I apologize for the chaos, but we are here, we are live. Let's jump straight in. So, welcome. What we're going to be talking about today is one of my secret content strategies. Now, where's this come from? Well, the one post a week class that I shared recently, and I actually presented that in someone else's paid group a couple of days ago, and it was so well received, and people are still asking for the replay of the one post a week strategy. And the full title of that is One Post a Week, which gets you 3 to 4 premium clients a month. So the strategy I want to share today is a similar but different strategy, because obviously when you're working with content and using attraction marketing, there's lots of different ways that we can create our content, right? And I'm a big fan, if you have been in my world for any length of time, you'll know I'm a big fan of doing things in a way that suits you energetically. So if you feel like writing a particular type of post or going live, or you feel inspired to share something, do it. Don't say, oh gosh, I'm supposed to be doing a tip because it's Tuesday. When you feel that energy behind what you're doing, go with it. But what's really, really useful is having strategies that make content marketing easier. So who would like to make their content marketing easier? Now, here's one of the myths of content marketing. And content marketing, if you're not familiar, just means creating content on social media. But it's not any old content. This is where people go wrong. This isn't just posting any old random stuff, filler. I call it like filler content, and expecting to get, to grow your audience and get inquiries and make sales from that. We want our content to convert. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, and that's what the one post strategy does as well. So if you haven't watched the one post a week strategy, that I would say is probably the foundational strategy. This is probably I would say is the next step or the next level. But you can interchange them, you can take pieces from one and use it in the other. It's very flexible. But going back to the myths, there is a myth with attraction content marketing that you have, because everyone says you should show up every day, and I completely agree with that. You should show up every day. I'm going to say that too. But showing up every day doesn't mean you have to write a long post every day. And that's where people feel stressed, is this, I've got a blank piece of paper and I've got to think of something to write about. How's that going to sell my program? How's that going to take my potential clients on the customer journey? But what you're doing when that happens is you're getting stuck in your head and overthinking. So let me just introduce myself to those of you, if there's anyone here that doesn't know me or hasn't been on one of my classes before. So hello, lovely to meet you if this is your first time on one of my classes. And I do like things to be interactive too, so do grab a piece of paper and a pen and a glass of water if you've got one, and get ready to take part. The more you interact and participate, and please use the comments, and you can ask questions and follow along with the strategies we're going along, the more you will embed the learning and embody what you're learning. So my background is, I've got a marketing background through 3 sectors. So I was corporate, then I went into the charity sector, and then I started my own business. And I started a marketing agency, social media marketing agency, as a single mum, going through a really contentious divorce that took 3.5 years and sucked the life out of me, with 2 young children. And starting that agency, running that agency completely, I wouldn't have survived without it, honestly, financially, emotionally. It structured everything for me. It was, everything went into that business. Not sure my kids would agree, but it kept me afloat, it kept me going, and I was really successful. I built that business up to 6 figures, and I had a team of 8 people. We were running social media campaigns. I was doing a lot of content marketing for clients, a lot of strategy and consulting for clients. We also at one stage built websites. Never again. and ran ad campaigns as well. So I'm very familiar with running ad campaigns. But for me, what happened was, it was a couple of things. The first one was that I had a meeting with my accountant. Now, I remember I was making 6 figures. So on paper, it looked like things were going really well. I had this team of people, I had all these clients. It was great, but it started to feel a bit soulless. And I remember having this meeting with my accountant, and we were looking at the profit levels and the costs. And I actually worked out that on an hourly basis, I was making less than some of my team. So my ads team, who are really good at what they were doing, you know, hands-on running the ads, they were making more money than I was. And yet I was the one bringing in all the clients, paying all the overheads, taking all the risk. And that just completely floored me. Combined with that, as I said, I've started to feel like it was a little bit soulless. I went from, I've always wanted to help people, and I'm sure you can relate to that. And share in the comments, if you would, what you do for a living, and are you doing something that helps people? Are you a heart-centered entrepreneur? And are you really motivated by helping people? And I think probably most of the people in this group are. But what I realized was I was helping people, and I was helping people to grow their businesses and get their message out and make money and all of that good stuff. But it just felt quite transactional. I think particularly because we were running ad campaigns, and the bigger clients we got on, the more money that we ran, I ended up just looking at numbers and, you know, the whole ad business manager and Facebook and managing my team. And that became, you know, it's almost like I created that sort of job for myself. And as much as I loved it, I burnt it to the ground. I literally just burnt the whole business to the ground. And I wanted to do something, now I can see it really clearly. I wanted to go from helping people to actually transforming people's lives, which is a big sweeping claim, isn't it, to say you want to transform people's lives. But how many of you here feel the same? How many of you are doing what you do because you want to transform people's lives? So for me, it wasn't about managing the team and looking at all the numbers. It's about people. And what I also realised was, as much as effective as ad campaigns are, I really strongly believe that you should not be running ad campaigns until you get your organic marketing converting. So if you're using social media but you're not making any sales from it, whatever you do, for God's sake, don't start running ads, because ads are not the secret fix. If you don't have your messaging nailed down, if you don't have an aligned offer, running ads is not going to help you. And the other side of my business, which is where I feel really passionate, is the energetics, working with energetics and human design and the energy marketing. And that's where these content strategies work so well, because when you get your energy behind what you're doing, your content marketing becomes much easier. And I can always tell whether someone's energetically aligned with their marketing, what they're doing on social media, and when they're not, from the questions that I get asked. So when people ask me things like, what should I post? Where should I post it? How should I post it? When should I post it? I know that person's in their head. So if you're thinking any of those things now, this is not, I'm not trying to shame anybody. It's quite normal. But those are the wrong questions. We want to ask better questions. So before I jump in, let me jump into the strategy. Is everyone here? Obviously you're here on Facebook at the moment. Is Facebook your main platform, or are you using other platforms? Because this strategy I'm going to show you, the fully booked content formula, works on any platform. I'm sorry, I can't see any comments. I'm sure you're all commenting away. I probably won't see them till, for some reason they're not coming through. So I'm going to assume, for the purposes of this class, I'm going to assume we're talking about Facebook. So I'm going to be talking about Facebook a lot. But this does work on all the other platforms as well, regardless of what you're on. Of course, each platform has its own energy, its own dynamics. So what I don't want anyone to do is just cut and paste what you do on Facebook onto other platforms, because that doesn't work. And again, if you're doing that and you're not getting sales, you need to do something differently. So let's look at Facebook. Content marketing. How many different ways is there to promote your business on Facebook? So let's look at the main ones. You've got your personal profile, you've got your Facebook page, you've got Facebook groups, of which most people are in hundreds, and then potentially you might have your own Facebook community as well within a group. So that's 4 different places to be sharing content. So what's the difference? And this is a question that people ask, and this is a really good question, is what's the difference about what you post where? So let me give you an analogy that will help when you're thinking about your content. So imagine that your business is a shop, a store for the Americans. Your shop front, your store front is your Facebook page. So imagine when you go to the estate agents, the realtors, can never say realtor, you know, and they've got the glass window, haven't they? And then they've got all the properties for sale and rent, you know, they've got the pictures, haven't they, in the window. So that's your Facebook page, is that storefront, that shop front. And you put either the things you want to sell or your best selling or your, you know, you put your best foot forward on your Facebook page, don't you? So that is, think of it as your shop front. So your Facebook page, you're not going to use that to build a lot of engagement. You know, to be honest, not many people are going to see. This is why a lot of us are using our personal profiles now, because your Facebook page, unless you are running ads, is going to be seen by such a small percentage of people. But if people do come and look you up, you want to have a nice shop front with some really nice posts, right? Come inside the shop, and that is your personal profile. So as soon as excuse me, as soon as someone comes in the door and they're inside your shop, that's your personal profile. So someone has to actually consciously come in the door and sort of enter your world. And just think about the dynamic of when someone comes, you know, imagine that you're running a shop and you've got these things in the window, and you want people to look at them and say, oh, that looks nice, let me find out more. People are going to come into your shop, and what do you do then? When people walk into your shop, do you sort of smack them in the face and say, here, you ought to buy my thing? No, none of us do. None of us would do that in real life, but that's what people do on social media. So we don't want to just be selling on our personal profile. You think of it as someone coming in. You know, how would you talk to someone and build a relationship with someone that's just come into your shop? Well, a couple of things. First, you want people to feel welcome. You also want people to get to know you. You want to get to know them, but you want them to get to know you. So your personal profile, as well as talking about your business stuff, we want to think, and I always say to people, think of it as a magazine. So if you buy a magazine, let's use the example of let's say you buy a yoga magazine. Not 100% of the articles in that magazine are about yoga. Some of the articles will be about yoga mats or incense or healthy eating or water filters, things that people who like yoga are also interested in. So that's how to think about your Facebook personal profile. And this is where we also want to be human, which sounds obvious, doesn't it? I suppose in this AI world it's not as obvious, but again, what we want to do here is to be building relationships, and this is where it starts, is on your personal profile. So we want to share a bit about ourselves, of why we do what we do, what's important to us. You know, maybe you share your story, maybe you talk about some of your clients, but you also might share other things. So I do love yoga, so I must admit, I do occasionally put a yoga picture or a piano picture or a dog picture. But it's because, you know, we're three-dimensional people. We're not just, I'm a fempreneur, that's all I'm going to talk about because I'm on Facebook and I want to sell stuff. So that's a really good place to build those relationships. Now, when you've got someone that comes into your shop and you've had a bit of an exchange, and you're you want to take things to the next step. So let's say they're interested in something that you're doing, or you think they'd be a great fit for something that you know you've got coming up. What you're going to do, you're going to invite them to come into your, you know, maybe you've got a lovely office at the back of your shop. So this isn't the public part of your shop where everybody can come in and have a little browse and you can get to know each other. The people that you think are a good fit, you're going to invite them into your office, offer them a coffee, and you know, it's a bit of a private space. And that is your Facebook group. So if you have a Facebook group, this is your private space that you're inviting people into. So can you see there's sort of a progression here? And I'm not saying you've got to start on your Facebook page and then go to your profile. So that's where the analogy doesn't work. But apart from that, the process of bringing people into your personal profile, if they're the right people, and you know what we want people to do on social media, with if your messaging's really clear, people will self-select as well. So if that's the sign that your messaging works, is that people, your potential clients, will self-select and want to come into your world, and that's the ideal, isn't it? And then of course when people are in your private space, your community, your group, then you can get to know people on a different level. So can you see, in terms of content marketing, how the content's going to be different for those different places? So we've got our sort of shop front on our Facebook page, where a few strategically placed nice looking posts, and that's the same with your Instagram feed. You know, you want that to look nice, because Facebook's all about the visuals. Instagram is all about the visuals. Your personal profile on Facebook is where people are coming into your shop, and then, as I say, they'll either self-qualify, or you'll invite them into your office if you want to take things to the next step. On Instagram, that's going to happen in your stories. And of course we've got Facebook stories, but that tends to be quite a different audience to the Instagram story audience. It's a different dynamic. So again, if you're just cutting and pasting the same content, not necessarily going to work. So let me take you through the fully booked content formula, and I hope, just having laid that groundwork, you now have already got some ideas for the types of content you're going to post. But here's the really important thing when you're creating content that you want to convert and sell from. What do your audience really want to know? Not what do they need to know, what do you want to tell them about your fantastic method and process and products and, you know, ways that you do things. What do they want to know about? And here's a little tip. If you're a manifesting generator, I call it the Walker's Crisps strategy. So if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, where we're conditioned to respond, and people often think, oh, I've got to sit back and wait for things to, you know, fall in my lap. No, what you do is you create opportunities to respond, and then you wait, you look for the signs. So what do I mean by creating opportunities to respond? Is say you're going to put teaser posts out in different ways, and you can use some of the strategy I'm going to share with you and see what people respond to. So rather than you sitting at home, again, this is a really common mistake that people make, is they sit at home and they say, I'm going to plan out my content. And I've heard people saying, I'm going to plan out 3 months, 6 months ahead. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? And if that works for you, all power to you. But I find that, you know, that's not working with your energy. That's trying to control everything in, you know, months in advance. But put out content in different formats, and with, you know, maybe if you've got a couple of different ideas for posts, stories, content, you know, I keep a notepad, and I've got one on Google Docs, I've got one on my desk. I'm always jotting down, oh, someone just said that, or I heard this thing, or a client just left me a voice message. You know, I write it down on my list. But what do people really want to know? So I'm going to give you a minute to write down. I want you to write down at least one thing in your notepad of what do your audience want to know. So if you had to pick one thing, what is that one thing? And I'm really sorry, I cannot see the comments, unfortunately. I would love to be able to see your comments. I don't want to be looking on my phone and having an echo though. So if you need to, if you're watching this on replay, you can pause, you can have a little bit of a think, but I want you to tune into your higher self as well and just allow that to come to you, and don't judge or filter, but just ask that question. Think about your ideal audience, or think about a particular person that you'd like to work with, and just ask your higher self that question. What does this person, Sally, Bob, whoever it is, what do they really want to know? So here's the fully booked content formula. So what we're going to do, and I love to do this by days of the week because it just helps our logical mind make sense of it. On Monday, you're going to make a video on this juicy topic. Now, this can be a video that you make at home and upload, or this can be, you can go live, doesn't matter. But you're going to make a video on this topic that you've just written down, this one juicy thing that your audience want to know. And if you don't know, you can ask people, which is always a good idea, isn't it, to ask people what they want. You could do a poll in your group, you could do a poll on stories, you could throw out some ideas and say, I'm thinking about A, B, and C. Which one? And you know, always surprises me. I think I know my clients, my audience really, really well, but it never ceases to amaze me when I do polls in my group here or with clients, the things that people pick. It's very rarely the thing that you think it's going to be. And of course, you know, the market's changed. Everything changed with COVID. Now we've got all this AI stuff that's really changed the dynamic of the market as well. So don't assume. And the worst thing you can do if you've been in business a long time or working with clients for a long time is to assume that you know what they want without sort of checking in regularly and making sure that you've still really got your finger on the pulse. So make your video on your juicy topic. I want you to use a result-driven headline. So if you've watched the one post a week strategy, gave you lots of tips and tools for creating a really spicy, compelling headline. So you're going to use a really spicy, compelling headline. So you're going to post that. If you have a Facebook group, you're going to post that in your group. So you either can go live or you can make a video and upload it. Then what you're going to do on your personal profile, this is all on Monday, by the way, what you're going to do on your personal profile is you're going to just put one of those little box, you know, the one-line box quotes, and just say, I'm doing this video, and obviously talk about the result that you're promising people. Who wants the link? So we've all seen those posts. It takes 2 seconds. You pick a nice background. I'm doing this thing. Who wants the link? Stick a couple of emojis on. Boom. Really, really easy. And that you can share on your stories. You can put that on other platforms. And you can also, on that post, you can either do a colour block or you could have a really jazzy picture of you. So I've just done some AI pictures of me. I look like someone out of Vikings, but with these fire bolts. It's really cool, actually. So what you want is a scroll stopping image. So either do a colour block or a scroll stopping image and a bit of text. Who wants to be tagged? Then what you do in your group, you can create an event. Depends how big, you know, if you're doing a masterclass, you might want to create an event and sort of promote it beforehand. If it's just a bit of a more spontaneous, or you're doing this on a more regular basis, you won't necessarily want to create an event. But creating an event's great because, of course, when you set up the event, you can invite all of your friends that are members of your group, and hopefully everyone in your group is a friend. If not, go through and make sure you friend request and become friends with, because why is anyone in your group if you're not even connected? You know, that doesn't make any sense. Although I did find a few people in my group that weren't friends, which is, I think they were either brought in by other people or they were sort of grandfathered in from an old, you know, from another group. And then what you're going to do, you can do a little bit of a countdown in the group, going live in an hour, going live in 2 hours. Don't overuse the everyone tag though, because that just gets really irritating. So then you're going to make your video or record your live, and then you're going to go back at the end. So let's say you do a live stream like I'm doing here. You're going to go back at the end and you're going to add your offer into the description. Okay, so you've presented on a topic, you've made an offer, you're going to go and you put your offer in the description of the video. You're done. So, you know, for a 10-minute video and a little box post on Facebook, that's it. So that's all you need to do for that strategy for the Monday. Okay. On Tuesday, what we're going to do is you're going to turn your video into a written post. So this is like the opposite, isn't it, of the one post. We start with the long post, and I showed you in that masterclass how to structure the long post. So on the Tuesday, we're going to turn the video into a written post. You can either use a transcription service, or you can just pick out the key points. So depending on how you made your video, maybe you had a few bullet points. If not, you can use a transcription service and get that video, you know, get the text out and share that as a post, again with a scroll stopping image. And then what you're going to do in your stories on Facebook is you're going to put some screenshots of the video. And again, you just put a little bit of text and say, you know, I've made this video showing you how to do whatever it is they want, this thing X that they want. Click here for the link, or who wants the link. Doesn't matter, you can ask a question or drop this word, you know, drop the word SoulFire for the link. And actually that works well because that gets the, you know, that the algorithm likes that. But you want to get people engaging and you want to be sharing it. Now the beauty of this is that you can keep sharing on stories. You could make a reel as well if you want, but keep sharing on stories. There's nothing to say that you just share it once and you don't share it again. But that's our Tuesday. Then what we're going to do, we're going to go to, on Tuesday, we're also going to go and you're going to post an engagement question in your group. So an engagement question is a question based around the topic. So let's say, for example, that our juicy topic is content marketing. So I would make a video about content marketing. I would be offering that to people. I'd be putting some screenshots in stories. Also, when you get amazing comments and feedback from people, screenshot that, put it in your stories. This was amazing, look at the feedback, who wants the link? And the idea of the engagement post is to get, to keep the interest up, but to get people talking as well, because Facebook rewards you when people are interacting. And also it's really good feedback for you, isn't it? When you're putting out these pieces of content, you want people to respond, you want to get a reaction. There's nothing worse, is there, than putting out content and just hearing crickets. And it's like, did people look at it? Did no one care? Am I just shouting into the void here? And the type of questions, so let's say, for example, the video is about content marketing. I would post a question in my group and say something like, how many hours do you spend on content marketing? Or are you using stories to boost your content marketing? you know, questions that are relevant to what I'm talking about in the video. And of course, what you're talking about in the video is going to be relevant to what your clients want. So this is where you have to, as I say, you have to have, for this strategy to really be effective, you have to have an aligned offer, because obviously we're selling something, so it's got to be an aligned offer, and we need an activated audience. Okay, so those are the two things you need, and then this is the strategy that's getting you in front of your audience. Then what you're going to do, and there's some really amazing whizzy dizzy AI tools, I'm using Vizard at the moment. You can take that video and you can chop it into smaller pieces, or you don't, the AI chops it into smaller pieces. And what I love about Vizard, just one I'm using for example, it's actually quite clever, and you can tell it, I want this angle, I want this angle, and it will chop, and you tell it how long you want the segment. So I say, okay, I want 49-second segments or 2-minute segments, and it will take your video and chop it into those little pieces. So it takes about 10-15 minutes. So you go off and you have a cup of tea and a sandwich, and you come back and it's done. You can then use those snippets. You can use it as shorts on YouTube. You can use it on your stories. You can create reels from those. They've got captions on them, so they're all ready to go. So this, you've only made one video, right? You've come up with one topic and made one video. But how many different versions have we got now? We've got the tagging in the Facebook profile. We've got the actual video itself. We've got the engagement post in the group. We've now got stories. We've got reels. We've got shorts. So we've already created, and we've got a written post. We've created 7 different pieces of content from this one video. So it's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so Wednesday. We're on Wednesday now. And let me just tell you, I hope no one's feeling overwhelmed. I know sometimes it can feel overwhelming because I'm using a lot of words, but actually, once you've done this a few times, it gets really fast. And my secret sauce is that I've got templates in Canva for all of these different pieces, and I'm using some of these tools. It makes it so much easier. And I don't have a VA at the moment. I don't have a team at the moment. I'm doing all my content myself. And it really, you just, you know, it's like anything. The more you do it, the faster you get and the easier it gets. So Wednesday, what we're going to do on Wednesday, we're going to take this written post and we're going to turn it into a carousel for Instagram. Now, if you don't use Instagram, you can turn that post in, you can still do a carousel and use it for a reel on Facebook instead. But a carousel is a multi-tile post. The algorithm loves them on Instagram at the moment. So take that piece of content, that written post that's come from your video, and create a carousel. You can use ChatGPT to help you repurpose if you want to, and ChatGPT will take that post, chop it into 5 to, you can have up to 10 tiles on a carousel post. I wouldn't normally have that many, but let's say you have between 5 and 7, and ChatGPT will put the emojis in as well, which is amazing. Then you're going to post that on Instagram, and that's going to go on your feed, your Instagram feed. So it needs to look nice. But that's the only thing you're doing in this strategy on that Wednesday. And it may take you, to start with, it might take you half an hour to create a carousel, but you'll soon have that down to, 5-10 minutes. And here's the other clever thing you can do on Instagram. When you've got a carousel with these different tiles, you can go tile by tile. So you look at your own profile, you go tile by tile, you can share each tile to your stories individually. So your carousel then becomes a storyline on your stories. And then what I do, because Facebook stories don't have the same whizzy dizzy tools as Instagram, I wish it did, but it doesn't. I then take those story tiles and I will use them on Facebook. Now, what I do to sort of customize for Facebook is obviously you want to make sure you're not saying DM me, because we don't DM on Facebook, we PM. So just be conscious of things like that. But I'm you can put stickers on, you can use some of the tools on Facebook. You could have a different color background, or as I say, probably the easiest thing is to take the tile, download it from Instagram, use it on Facebook, and just change the stickers, put different stickers on, so it's then active for your Facebook as well. So now we've got Facebook personal profile, we've got a video in your group, we've got written post, we've got a carousel on Instagram, we've got stories on Facebook. Thursday, you can take your stories, or you can take your little snippets, and you can make a reel. So if you want to make reels, but you don't want to be on camera dancing around like a TikTok queen, you can use your snippets as a reel on Facebook and Instagram. Put a trending music behind it, use that video, and again, you can put stickers on, add a couple of hashtags and a caption, boom, you're done. Again, if you haven't done this before, it might sound overwhelming. If it does, just skip that step. If you've already done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you've got all these pieces of content, maybe you don't need to do any more. Maybe you can just, have a glass of wine and congratulate yourself on a really productive week. So I'm just giving you I'm sharing with you what I use and what's working for me, but don't feel like you have to do all of this stuff. Okay, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, remember, we want this to be like a magazine. We don't want to just be work, work, work. Just, this is when you can share your behind the scenes, your more personal, here I am with my dog. We're going out. I'm taking my dog to the beach after this, although the weather's terrible. So it's going to be raincoats and wellies on the beach, I think. But, that's the sort of thing people want to, we're nosy, aren't we? Basically, human beings are nosy. We want to see what people's lives are like, and maybe you can show people your office and where you work and where you live, and, give people a little peek into your life and who you are as a person. So, I know that's a lot of information. I cannot see any comments. But I would love to know how you are feeling about the fully booked content formula. Now, as I said at the beginning, you can take any pieces of this and mix and match, use them in different ways. You can, the one post a week strategy starts with the long post. And in that class, I actually teach you how to write the long post, how to structure it, some of the tools you can use to help you to make that process easier. So if you haven't seen that training, you'd like that, actually writing the post and structuring it piece, just write one post in the comments and I'll send you the link to the Evergreen replay for that one. And here's what I want to say about having all the pieces in place. Just writing content on its own is not going to get you clients straight away, unless this is a muscle you've got to build. And as I say, unless you've got an activated audience and aligned offer. So you can start putting these pieces together at the same time. One thing I would say too is that if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed and you feel like you could use some support with this, all the things I've talked about today are things that we cover in the SoulFire Client Attraction Academy. So in the SoulFire Client Attraction Academy, we cover messaging. How do you create messaging that gets your audience to say, we have 4 psychological ticks, like yes, 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 and get people to self-select. We have training on creating an aligned offer. There's a whole module on creating an aligned offer, and also the energetics behind it. Your target audience, making sure you're really clear on who your target audience are, but also how to cultivate them, how to activate them. And we look at how to grow your audience. And what we do in the SoulFire Client Attraction Academy is every person there builds their own personalized client attraction system. But here's the beauty of how it works. And this content strategy I've just shared is one of the strategies in the content pillar, if you like. The beauty of this is that you start wherever you are, have a beautiful roadmap. In fact, I meant to show you the roadmap. I'll post it in the group. The roadmap takes you through the 6 steps. There are just 6 steps. And you can jump in wherever you are. Each step of the roadmap has a video and additional resources. So if you say, okay, I feel like I've got a good offer and I feel confident about my content now, but how on earth do I activate my audience? How do I cultivate them? How do I get people to really notice me and engage with me and want to buy my offers? Then you can start with that section, because my goal in the SoulFire Academy is to have you bringing in clients, a steady stream of clients within the first 30 days. So if that's of interest, drop SoulFire, I'll send you the full details. We also cover lead creation, content strategy, of course, which is a really key part of everything. The energetics behind all of these different things, which is absolutely essential, and soulful selling. So how to sell in a way where you don't feel like you're selling and your audience don't feel like they're being sold to. So who likes the sound of that? We've got a 6-week live round coming up. It's actually starting next week. And we will be going through each of the 6 modules, creating a profit driving plan for each one, using the roadmap, and you will start to bring clients in. The SoulFire Academy clients are doing so well. I've already got a lead. I've had messages from 2 clients actually this morning. One's brought 3 new clients in. One had a block and had a big realization about what that block was and what she needs to do. And it's really transformative stuff. It's not just about, yes, we bring in clients and sales, but this is about becoming the person who has the clients and money that you want. So if you've set yourself a goal, you need to be that person. You can't just say, I want this, but not be that person, because that's where we make life really hard for ourselves. So the SoulFire Academy is, yes, it's about getting clients, just as it says on the tin, but it's also about who you're becoming. And I'm very conscious that people need to make money. People need to make money. People want to scale up their businesses, and that's what we focus on. It's a really beautiful, loving, supporting community of like-minded women, fempreneurs who are taking action. So again, if you'd like the information on that, just drop SoulFire in the comments and I'll send you the link. Okay, so I'm going to log off and then I'll come back and check comments. So if you want to ask any questions, please post them in the comments. Thank you so much for being here live. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on replay, I would love to know how you get on with this strategy. This works for me. This brings in clients. This brings in money. Try it. Give it a go. And if you need my help, message me. We've got the SoulFire Academy. I work with clients one-to-one. I have Empower Hours if you want to dip your toe in and just get help on one little piece of it. So don't struggle on your own. Don't be a stranger. Get in touch, ask for help, and let's move the needle in your business, get you more clients, get you growing, set you up for your best month ever. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Take care.